I'm trying something different today. I've got a timer set so I can stop it at every 14, basically 13 minutes. Because the way the YouTube is set up, I can only upload 14-minute segments. So I figure if I can separate this into different areas, then that'll work out well. I've set up this morning on week 6, the mini assignment. I call it the mini assignment, but it's minimalism. I've set up 2 videos. Both of them are in YouTube. I guess I should have named them better. They go over the sort of simple procedure of creating and filling shapes using layers and moving them around. And I'm going to go over that today in class. These are just kind of the backup. All right, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to be going over. Ooh, I was playing my own video. It got confusing there for a minute. I was like, man, who is that nice guy? All right, so I'm in Photoshop. I've created a 10 by 10 square, 10 inches by 10 inches with a resolution of 300 pixels. It's important that you keep in mind the pixels because like I said before, you can reduce the number of pixels, you can make things smaller, but you can't make them larger. The problem with that is the computer doesn't understand what you're trying to do when you're making something like that, and it just adds pixels wherever it thinks a pixel needs to go. That's how, you know, when you go on the internet, you find a really hot picture of Beyonce, and then you print it to your printer, and it comes out looking like Barney from Barney's Army, and he's all like, oh, jacked up. So the pixel count for your printer is different than the pixel count for your screen, and the pixel count for your whatever website you got that from is also different. It's probably 72. Your screen is probably 72 unless you have an HD screen, and then it might be higher. And then your printer is probably set to 600 or 1200, depending on. So the computer keeps going, well, he wants it bigger, he wants it bigger, he wants it bigger. And every time you double the size, you half the number of pixels. And so that is auto-destructive. So always set your pixels to where you want them to be. So this is 10 inches by 10 inches with a 300 pixel count or a 300 DPI, depending on your terminology. On the top and the bottom on mine, you can see rulers. If you don't see the rulers, they not necessarily always set the default. If you don't see them, just go to View, pull down to Rulers, and check the little box, and they will show up. And what makes rulers good? Well, when you're dealing with any project where you need to be able to measure or set up, you can click in the ruler and pull what's called a guide out. Now, I set this one at 1 inches, 1 inches, 1 inches. And basically I'm just setting up a frame that allows me to have a working structure. So I haven't created any additional layers. I'm going to do that now. Make a layer. I'm going to get my rectangular marquee tool. It's actually the selection tool. And I've selected an area on my new layer. I can say edit, fill, foreground color. Now, here's where we get into one of the controls at the top that isn't really mentioned on a lot of the structures. The select tab, if I go to select, I can inverse my selection. So then I get the border. So I could go in here, create another layer and say edit, fill. And this time I'm going to fill not with foreground color, but with a select color. And this becomes a frame. It's handy to be able just to do that sort of on the fly. If you want to use a frame or use a frame in your structure, I wouldn't necessarily use an inch because that's pretty thick frame. Now, with the layers, as you see, I cut the eyes out, they disappear. I go to select, deselect. Now let's say I want to make a shape. And this time I'm just going to do something simple. I'm just going to do like a square and then do a reduction. This is what I do in the video. So you notice I'm on layer 1 and I can say edit, Oh, I gotta make sure I have the layer selected. It wasn't selected. You will find that most of the problems and mistakes that you seem to be running into, you're going to be like, oh my God, it's not working. It's usually just some minor selection thing. Now, in the video, I do this all on one layer. You could do this in separate layers, and that gives you more control. Select. Now, I'm going to shrink this square. So I'm going to go select, modify, contract. I'm going to contract it 120 pixels and see how much that is. Not as much as I would like, but whatever. I'll say edit, fill. And this time I'm going to go with foreground color. This way I can toggle between the two. Select, modify, contract. Notice that I made another layer. So, and just, it's a constant shrinking thing. Edit, fill. And then I'll go back to color. Now I don't notice I just hit OK because it's the same color as I had before. Another layer, edit, select, modify, contract, 120 pixels. I will say edit, fill, foreground color. Another layer, select, modify, contract, edit, fill, color. Now there's a thing called actions in Photoshop where you could record this series of events and you wouldn't have to do it over and over again. But the problem with actions is, oh wait, I didn't contract. Select, modify, contract, 120 pixels, edit, fill, foreground color. I would continue down until I got it a lot smaller. But now you see that each of these are at different points along the way. This point, I could gather them into a folder, holding down the Shift key, dragging it in there. Now they're all in one box. And I could call this box 1. Okay. So now let's say I want to go in and add layer effects. So I'm going to come in here, I'm going to say down here where the little FX is, I could put a stroke. What is a stroke? A stroke is a pin line around the frame. It's either on the inside or wherever. I could go in and do a drop shadow. Multiply, distance. You see it's happening down here. Boom. Oh, because I'm putting it on the box. Oh, I hate it when I do that. So I didn't mean to put the FX on that. I meant to go right here, but I'm just going to go copy. And I just right clicked, copy layer style, come here, paste layer style, paste layer style. You get a layer style. You get a layer style. You get a layer style, and you get a layer style. Bum, bum, bum. Come over, activate the layer styles because they were deactivated when I pasted them in. Booyah! All right. So see how my box is now dynamic? I'm doing something dynamic. And I'm gonna see what my time is. So, okay, I'm at 9 minutes, that's not bad. All right, so now this is all in one thing. I can actually go up here and I can close the box. I can come up here and I can duplicate this. Now then this becomes my master box. So I don't have to recreate this over and over again. Now I can come up here to this one. And let's say I want to do a different color. So I can come up here, I can magic wand my selected blue, and I could edit, fill with color, and I could say I want it to be red. Red makes me happy. Okay, booyah. I can come here, say boom, boom, edit, fill, color, booyah. Come up here, say edit, fill, color, booyah. Oh wait, something happened. Oops, I know what happened. I know what I didn't do. I didn't select the blue. Edit, fill, booyah. All right. Now I'm like, I don't want pink on red, so I'm gonna come over here. I'm gonna select this one. I'm gonna say edit, fill. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna say color. And this time I'm gonna do like a teal. Why not? Because visually that just makes my eyes hurt. So I like that. Edit, fill, color. All right. So now let's say I want to move these around. So this is going to be part of the first one. So I'm going to deselect. I've got my box thing and I got this selected and I'm going to come over here and I'm going to say, oops, undo. All right, so once I get the boxes like I want them, so this is going to be my group for set 1. I can come over here, I can select all of them. I just held down the shift key. And then I'm going to say, bom, 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 make sure I cut off the background. I'm going to go up here to this little button right here and say, merge layers, boom. And now they're all on one layer. And I can come over here and I can move this around. I'm going to duplicate it a couple times. I'm gonna say, boom, I'm gonna move you up here. So you're like right there. And then you're gonna be like right there. Wait, where's 5? Boom, 5. And then I'm gonna come over here, I'm gonna duplicate this one. You go, trying to click on the words. It's not helping me here. Come over here, I'm gonna say, boom. And then I'll come back here and I can always go back in and change the colors again. This time I can do it all on one layer. The problem is this little drop shadow is going to throw it off. So I would always go back to the master and do a new master. So this would be 2 of the panels. I could come up here, create a folder and call this set 1. I can put that one in set 1 and put this one in set 1 and then close that. Boom. Close this. I'm going to stick that in set 1 just so I've got it in there. Go back to my master layer and start changing colors again. That's all there is to this. It's just a matter of copy, paste, repeat with these various steps. So the goal there is to create multiple sets of these. So then you could go in and move them around to create a piece like the minimalism piece that we saw in the last week's modules. Like that. Everybody with me? All right. So I'm going to stop recording because I'm right at my time.